There's a reason why I like a couple of the Democrats, notably Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, because it seems like out of all of the candidates, they're at least honest, and I kind of like that. There's also Bernie Sanders, who's been a bit honest, and I'll show you some of the things I think he's been honest about, but I've been very critical of Bernie because I feel like he's pandering to woke outrage and policies he used to oppose. If you look at Bernie Sanders' track record in the past, or the statements he made in 2015, it seems kind of weird, because he's kind of flip-flopped on some issues, and he said some weirdly offensive things to white working class voters, notably that they don't know what it's like to be poor. Don't take my word for it. That's a quote from the 2016 cycle when he was on the debate stage. But now we have a story about Andrew Yang. Democrats are still in denial about why we lost the 2016 election. There's another reason why I like the guy. Certainly don't think he's perfect. Want to make sure that's clear because I know people are going to come out and be like, oh, but Yang is wrong on this. Oh, I'll show you where Yang is wrong on some stuff. But I think it's fair to say, at least he's self-reflecting, because that's something the Democrats aren't doing. And, well, he's being honest. He's saying it's not about Trump. In fact, there's another article, I don't think I've pulled up, maybe they have this quote, where he's saying they can't keep blaming Trump for everything. And I'm sitting here saying, thank you. Finally, please. Andrew Yang's a quick learner. He's a smart guy, and I can respect that. I don't think he's right on everything. But let's see what he had to say. Before we get started, I'm going to tell you, you may notice, this is an early morning video on my main channel. I'm going to be doing this probably for the new year as we're entering the 2020 election cycle, so I can sort of differentiate between my big, strong personal opinions and kind of just focus on stories where we look at what some of the Democratic candidates are saying. I think it'll be more useful. It probably will be less effective as like a business thing, because doing opinion tends to do better. But I want to do this. I want to show you what Andrew Yang said, and I want to show you some of his positions, and I want to talk about what it means to truly work hard and why Andrew Yang or some of the more far lefties who support him are wrong. First, let's read from Town Hall. But again, before we get started, go to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's several ways you can give. The best thing you can do, share this video if you think it's a good video and you think it's, I don't know. Otherwise, just watch and you can hate me, fine, whatever. Let's read. Town Hall reports. 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang joined ABC News' This Week on Sunday. The very first question I'm assuming they said he was asked, copy editor guys. I want to start with your campaign slogan. It's not left, not right, but forward. What does that mean? Yang said, well, John, to me, it's clear the reason why Donald Trump is our president today is that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs that were primarily based in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, and Iowa, the swing states he needed to win. And what we did to those jobs, we are now going to do to the retail jobs, the call center jobs, the fast food jobs, and eventually the truck driving jobs. And I don't know if Yang's timeline is correct. I think it's happening faster than you realize. So first, we are absolutely automating away a ton of jobs. That's going to result in a lot of people out of work. Along comes Donald Trump and says, these free trade agreements sent your jobs overseas or to other countries, and we're going to bring them back. Now, here's the thing. Trump's right about that. Trump got some of these factories to be rebuilt in, say, Michigan. Andrew Yang is also right that some of the factories that exist don't hire as many people because they're automating away jobs, especially low-skill jobs. If you think it's bad now, I think it was Yang who talked about this too. Take a look at the Industrial Revolution. When people started losing their jobs, people got really, really angry because people like working and people need food. And if you have no security, shelter, or food, you have no access to resources, that's when things start lighting up. So I view Yang as kind of the actual response to Donald Trump. All of these Democrats that are running, in my opinion, for the most part, are regressive. And I don't mean like a buzzword regressive. I mean like, I like Tulsi Gabbard, right? I'm a big fan. I think she's awesome. Full disclosure, I donated to Tulsi and Yang. I think they're great. Tulsi's principal position is ending these foreign wars. The reason I agree with that is because it's a massive waste of our money that could go to literally anything. All right, say you're a conservative. Yeah, if we stop spending trillions of dollars on war, that's less taxes you have to pay. Let's say you're a Democrat or a liberal. Let's say we take those trillions of dollars and we fix the pipes in Flint. It's the first thing you have to do. It's mind-blowing to me that we have any people on stage at all running for president when the first position should be, hey, we got a ton of money, we're dumping it over there. I know. Hold on. A lot of people are now screaming, saying that's not how the economy works. You're right. When we spend money on supplies that are, and things for war that are manufactured here in the US, that money does stay in the economy. But I'm talking about literally building roads and infrastructure and building bases overseas, sending drones and, multi-million-dollar Hellfire missiles. We don't need to do that. So let's get back to the main point at hand. Donald Trump's solution to essentially automation and loss of jobs was to target the free trade agreements and these bad trade agreements. And that makes sense. Donald Trump is a tradesman. He's got character defects. We'll sidestep that for now, because I know people on the left will be like, ah. But the point is, Donald Trump's proposed solutions fit his worldview. Business. He proposes business solutions. They work. Will they work forever? Not necessarily. Andrew Yang is a tech entrepreneur. His solutions are tech-based. Will they also solve all the problems? Not really. That's why I think you need some kind of combination of the two. We need to recognize that when companies send jobs overseas, that's taking jobs away from Americans, and that's hurting our people who are now without a way to access resources. We also got to recognize, man, fast food restaurants and businesses, they're going to be cutting jobs as they put in kiosks. And yeah, factories are going to build more and more robots and automate, and those jobs are going to go away. Self-driving cars around the corner. Andrew Yang is right. But I'm sorry I buried the lead on this one. I want to show you what he said about being in denial. So let's read on more of what Yang said. According to the entrepreneur, how America deals with technological advancements should be something, quote, that works for all Americans independent of your political affiliation. I agree. These problems are technological and apply to us all. Carl followed up by asking Yang if he believed the Democrats have been too ideological, too far to the left, and the Republicans have been too far to the right. He said, I was an ambassador in the Obama administration, but to me, the Democrats have still not asked themselves the hard questions as to how Donald Trump won in 2016. If you look around the country, you see 30% of stores and malls closing. You see record high levels of stress, financial insecurity, student loan debt, even suicides and drug overdoses. The Democratic Party, unfortunately, is acting like Donald Trump is the cause of all of our problems. He's a symptom, and we need to cure the underlying disease. There are two symptoms. I'm sorry, the disease is not just these jobs being automated away. But I will say this. I do like the Yang guy, man. I got to admit. You know, when he first popped up on the scene, I was skeptical because there were these weird internet campaigns. And he's got this the Freedom Bucks thing, the Freedom Dividend, which I am a bit skeptical on, but I do appreciate, and we'll talk about that. But it's a bit refreshing to have someone finally say, stop blaming Trump. It's basically the conversation I have all day. I go to people and they're like, oh, but Donald Trump. No. You're wrong. Okay, Donald Trump did not create what's happening. Donald Trump is a response to what's happening. And it's not just the jobs. Donald Trump is the perfect solution for what ails so many people. You might not want to hear it. You might say, no, Tim, Trump is the orange man. He's evil. He's wrong. He's bad. He's corrupt. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is, you had a tradesman, an international businessman, who is telling you, he's been telling you since NAFTA was signed, this is bad, I'm going to fix it. I know how to fix it. I got my name on buildings all around the world. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. People listen to that. Even if he's a bad person, you got someone who's more qualified to fix the trade problem. More importantly, Trump's bad attitude played a major role. People are tired of being told what they can and can't say. This is a fact. Look at the polls, look at sentiment. Nobody likes the idea they got to zip their mouth shut and they're scared of talking the way they want. Donald Trump comes along and he calls people horseface. You know, he insults people, questions their professional credibility or their credentials. People finally are saying, I'm not scared anymore. There are still a ton of people who are scared to say they support the president. And there are a lot of people on the left who just think Trump is literally the worst incarnation of any leader ever. But the reality is there were two really big problems. Bad trade, which resulted in a lot of loss of these jobs. And not just trade, I understand, it's loss of jobs in general. But Trump's solution was trade. It worked. They're opening factories in Michigan. Okay, if you're on the left and you want to deny that, fine. Listen to Andrew Yang when he says you're in denial about what got Donald Trump elected. It is the automation. It is the trading away our jobs to foreign countries. It's TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Trump finished off. He nuked it. And Bernie wanted to do the same thing. This is why people said Bernie or bust. This is why so many people, 12 to 18%, went from Bernie to Trump. If you're not paying attention, you're going to lose. However, when asked if they went too far to the left, what did Yang say? Well, he said he didn't really say yes or no, but I want to show you this. Because certainly there are a lot of people who would like to claim that I'm right-wing, and fine, whatever. You can call me whatever you want, sure. What you're seeing right now is a graph I've shown many times. For those listening on the podcast, let me explain. We can see that there's two lines, a blue line and a red line. The red line shows the left and right swing of the Republican Party. The blue line shows the left and right swing of the Democratic Party. In 2008, the Democratic Party swung super far to the left. And by 2016, the Democratic Party is now to the left of the average European party. And many European parties are more socialistic, not socialist entirely, but they're democratic, they're social democracies. So they have very, very massive welfare states. The Republicans have barely moved relative to the Democrats. If you find yourself where Barack Obama was, he was actually decently far left. I mean, he campaigned on universal health care. Then yes, 100% the Democratic Party has swung too far to the left. So let me add to Andrew Yang's statement that the Democrats are still in denial about why they lost in 2016. Because in 2016, they moved so far left, they abandoned the Obama base. Number one. This also led to the rise of absurd authoritarian political correctness, also known as the the SJWs, right? This brought us a wave of YouTube channels of anti-SJWs, of which I am lumped into to a certain degree. And it's because while many of the people who oppose what people refer to as SJW, we're mostly opposing authoritarianism. Nobody cares if you have, a Latino female lead for your movie. Just don't insult people as you do it. One of the complaints about, say, like Ghostbusters 2016 was that they mocked men and belittled them in an effort to make women look stronger. It doesn't work. Wonder Woman does work because you just have a good, strong character, and the movie was fun. And Chris Pine was awesome in that movie, by the way. But this is the point. Andrew Yang is correct when he says the Democrats are in denial. Automation, bad trade, political correctness. Trump was the solution to so much of that. He came out and said whatever he wanted to say. He did the trade deals that resulted in the factories coming back to Michigan. These jobs are coming back. Trump is going to landslide 2020. And you know what? The Democrats don't seem to care. But I'd like to now step forward and talk about this idea, for a tweet from former Vox personality Carlos Maza. This tweet has been making the rounds, and I think it's a very important thing that needs to be addressed when dealing with issues of Andrew Yang's Freedom Dividend, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, I want to read you this. Carlos Maza tweeted, "I don't know who needs to hear this, but the whole point of having a developed economy is that we get to work less while still getting our basic needs met. The goal is to spend as little time as possible at work so we actually get to enjoy being alive together, being alive on the planet together." This is a post on a subreddit called Late Stage Capitalism that mocks capitalism in its late stage. But Carlos Maza is 100% wrong. And I think you can see the rows in his account because I believe he's a democratic socialist. I don't want to, put his views on him, but he's 100% incorrect. The goal of a developed nation is not that we get to work less and reap the benefits, because you can. You literally can. You don't need an iPhone. You can get a cheap smartphone. You can do the bare minimum. You can work at a fast food restaurant. You can do the bare minimum, and the standard of living is still increasing. You can not stop spending your money. You can save your money. This is what's crazy to me. When I was working a few years ago, say like Vice, I saved all of my money. I save almost all of my money today. I don't just spend every single penny I get. And even though it might seem like you can't afford, say, a specific treatment, the fact that the treatment exists is an increase in the standard of living. So as the saying goes, John Rockefeller, or was it David? I don't know, whatever, Rockefeller, the guy with the oil, you have better dental care than he did back when he was alive, and he was the oil baron. The point is, poverty is relative. The reason we keep working, even though things are getting better, is because there's always going to be a development that makes things better. The reality is, as we automate away jobs, we are not going to work less. That's like a false reality, I guess, where people think if every job is being done by a robot, you won't have to work. That's not true. Your standard of living will increase, your access to resources will increase along with it, but you will still do some kind of work. And this brings me back to that point about automation, Yang, Trump. The reason why I want to highlight this is because it's not about people wanting to work less. People don't want to work less. People want purpose. Carlos Maza, you might not want to work, but the reality is most people do. People get depressed when they sit around doing nothing. So as technology improves, as our access to resources improves, the poverty line will always be relative to our economy. But I'll tell you this, somebody below the poverty line in the United States, within reason, is still making substantially more money than many other countries in the world. Capitalism is still lifting people up. Let's move a little bit forward, and I want to highlight some of the faults of Yang as well as the Democrats. Andrew Yang has three big policies: the Freedom Dividend, Medicare For All, human-centered capitalism. For the sake of this, I'm going to ignore the human-centered capitalism. I think that's a push to be like, we're not socialists. But let's talk about the Freedom Dividend very quickly, because I really want to talk about Medicare For All. The Freedom Dividend basically is, some people refer to as universal basic income. That's not necessarily true, but the general idea is there would be a value-added tax, essentially a sales tax on major corporations, big tech companies, and that revenue would then be dispersed to people who opt into the Freedom Dividend, meaning they opt out of other government welfare programs. The goal is to give you $1,000 a month. I'm skeptical on the idea. It's a much better version of the standard UBI. Typically, when people talk about universal basic income, they talk about taxing everything and everyone, and then redistributing wealth on an even level. But what people don't understand is that the minimum wage is not relevant. What's relevant is the value of labor at the lowest level. It doesn't matter if you give someone $10 or $20 an hour, because if you make the lowest level job more expensive, then everything underneath it has to become more expensive. If somebody went to school for 4 years to be a doctor, so that way they could, buy 10 pizzas per day, and you now increase the cost of producing the pizza, that doctor can only produce 5 pizzas per day, devaluing their labor, and they're going to want to raise. It would cause rapid inflation. But the Freedom Dividend is a bit different. He's only charging the biggest corporations a VAT tax, which will capture some of the revenue lost by, say, the retail. These businesses are closing, malls are closing, stores are closing. The general idea is he's going to capture that back. I'm skeptical, but I appreciate the idea. At least he's talking about it. I'm gonna speed up now because I'll wrap this one up. But Medicare for All. This is a big policy push from all of the Democrats, basically. The problem is it's too expensive. But Andrew Yang's approach to it is much more intelligent than everything the other Democrats have been proposing. For one, Elizabeth Warren refused to admit they would raise your taxes. They will. Andrew Yang has no problem saying, listen, if we can free up small business to not have to worry about paying healthcare costs for their employees as benefits, then we're gonna see it easier to start a business. That was the smartest thing I have ever heard out of any Democrat as to why Medicare for All makes sense. The problem? Probably too expensive. The other problem? Andrew Yang was one of the Democrats who pledged to give government health care to non-citizens. That doesn't work. I'm sorry. They've estimated something like, $3 trillion a year. It's $30 trillion over 10 years for Medicare for All. We can already not afford it, let alone add that to add costs to, say, non-citizens now getting access to that as well. It's not affordable. Well, Andrew Yang has a really smart approach. If we can make it easier to start a business, then more businesses will emerge, there'll be more tax revenue, and the economy will flourish. He's right. That's absolutely true. It should not be the burden of small business to pay healthcare benefits because people need insurance. However, unfortunately for today, the costs are just too high. So for me personally, I fall into a more of a public option bracket, not because I want the public option or because I don't want Medicare for All, but because I don't think there is a clear path in the short term to actually get Medicare for All. Because I say something like that, people are then going to criticize me as being anti-progressive. It's like, you know what, man? You can push your purity tests. You can try and say that any reasonable solution is a capitulation or giving up, but you're wrong. The reality is there are a lot of people who like their private insurance. You can't take that away. And many people said they would. A lot of people don't want to see their taxes go up because they do have a good health insurance program through their employers. And they don't want that to go away either. So you can't step in and just say, we're taking it away, we're changing the system, you don't get to choose. I'm sorry, but the reality is they do get to choose. And if it's a choice between losing health insurance they like or keeping the health insurance they like, they're going to go to the voting booth and they're going to vote for the person who says, I'm not going to raise your taxes and you can keep your health insurance plan because you're stable. Which says to me, the most appropriate thing we can do as a compromise is a single step in one direction. You can buy into a public option. Now, the public option may be subsidized. There are a lot of problems there. But one of the things Donald Trump has done, which I'm not hearing a lot about, is he's making healthcare providers, they have to disclose the prices. So you know what? Too many people on the left and the right too many people on the left are so concerned with the demeanor of the orange man, and they blame him for everything, as Andrew Yang said, instead of recognizing Trump is doing right by a lot of people. He's doing wrong by some people. You got to admit it. Like the way he talks, the way he behaves. But the reality is, if the Democrats remain in denial and refuse to accept that the president has done good things, you are not going to win. I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Bernie Sanders because I think it's fair. Bernie Sanders says Medicare for All will cost jobs. I really respect this. This is a story from the Boston Herald. Bernie Sanders' long championed Medicare for All health system will cost people their jobs. He said, quote, will there be job loss? Yes, there will be. Sanders said in response to an audience question. You got to hand it to Bernie Sanders. He really does believe in what he's pushing. Unfortunately, he's pandered too much. He's given up the microphone, and I'm really let down by that. More importantly, and I mean this with no disrespect, Bernie Sanders is just a bit too old. So there's a lot of reasons why I've been, turned off by him and his policies and the way he's behaved politically. And it's why I'm a much bigger fan of Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, though Andrew Yang did say some really offensive, gross things about Trump being a slob and stuff. I don't think we need to play that game. Yang, you don't need to do that. There's a reason why many people don't like Trump, because Trump is crass and boorish. So don't play that game. The Democrats need to come out and recognize Trump was right about a lot of things, and then offer up a clean, charismatic alternative, but they don't want to do it. They don't. I think Yang is the best, is at this point the best choice. While my first choice would be Tulsi, because the hard focus on foreign war makes more sense. Don't talk about Freedom Dividend and taxing companies before you talk about the money we waste on war. I think Yang has done a tremendous job of maintaining, boosting his polls, raising money, just bolstering, generally getting better at what he does. I think it's fair to say Trump is going to win, Republicans are going to sweep, and Andrew Yang is right. Democrats are in denial. That's why. But I will end with one little snippet from just a few weeks ago from The Intercept. A purity test for raising middle-class taxes would eliminate every Democratic frontrunner. Listen, I know you might want Medicare for All, but let's be real. It's going to be too expensive. You can't give it to non-citizens, okay? You can't have a welfare state, but also open up your borders to more and more people to get access to that welfare state. It will collapse. It's just reality. Bernie Sanders is being honest. I respect that, saying there's going to be job losses. Even Warren said 2 million jobs will be lost through Medicare for All. He said he's going to raise your taxes. I have absolute respect for that. Listen, man, if you like what he's preaching, then you probably absolutely respect the man as being honest to you, for the most part. Again, I'm not trying to say Bernie's perfect, because there's some stuff he's really, really peddled and pandered on. He said, there's too many poor people in the world, we can't open the borders. Then he's also said we need climate refugees. I think Bernie's flip-flop on a lot of issues, and I think he's done what a lot of politicians have done. Say one thing in one district because it sells well, and then say something else in a different district because it sells well. And you can see what Ocasio-Cortez did in New York, where she banned the press from her events, and that's why they do it. They don't want people to hear what they're preaching because they preach different things in different places. It is what politicians do. Donald Trump doesn't. Trump just says whatever. So I can respect them for being honest about it, but let's be real. If you keep trying to push far left policy and ideology, you will lose. So let me wrap this video up by showing you this chart again. And I know it's kind of, redundant. Many people have seen it before, but remind people of this chart when they talk to you about radicalization or whatever. The Republican Party is doing what it's always done. This is why my videos tend to point in the direction they do. The Republican Party is the Republican Party. I grew up in Chicago. They never mattered to me. They never did anything to me. I grew up under Democratic supermajorities. And now I can see the Democratic Party leaving us all behind. They're duplicitous, they're lying, they're going too far left, and as Andrew Yang said, they are in denial. So you know what you get? You get Donald Trump. Please, wake up. But props to Yang. Stick around. So for those that are listening, I think I'm gonna be doing more segments 10 a.m. on my main channel from now on. We'll see how it works, and maybe it won't work, I don't know. But the goal is to, my main channel has always been about my personal, what I think is the most important thing and how I feel about what's happening in mainstream politics. But with the elections coming up, I think it would be fair to actually make it, my 4 p.m. segment will always be I'm constantly angry at the Democrats. I just explained why. And there's a lot of things they do that I question, and it makes me angry. But I also think it's important to start highlighting positions of actual Democrats, what they're saying, because we're getting into Super Tuesday. I think that's a better utility for a lot of people. I think, as most of us know, the business decision that works the best would be being outraged all the time and just making opinion videos. But I'm trying to do something better. So maybe this will work out, maybe it won't. But stick around. Next segment will be coming up at 1 p.m. YouTube.com/TimCastNews. This is going to be more cultural, more off the cuff. That's my second channel. If you're not familiar, go check it out. And I will see you then again on this channel at 4 p.m. So thanks for hanging out. I will see you all then.